Isaiah's preference is to do open ballots. He can do with closed ballots. At his last meeting, Logan made a motion for closed ballots.
Jackie.
Good. That based on the Senate and Environmental Commission, he needs to be with closed ballots. But as we have here, the elected senators, that would not advise him to go out to do previously did the most evaluation.
I can do it, but I want to apply for it. I can get you some.
Normally I don't like
I think the most important
I might just. Good evening, everybody. Please make sure you check in before we get started here.
Not yet. We're so excited to meet my new book. And then I had the sheet. And then I had
Parker. Parker.
Yeah.
Recording.
I will get on. Thank you.
I don't know, but also like, go into the right.
Final call. Please make sure you check in.
so that's
Please remember.
no.
Should upstairs. I don't have blanket up there.
Well, actually, I may have
Last time, where are we missing? Yeah.
Beasley's not here.
Well, Beasley's is fantastic today. Did you check?
I didn't say that.
No, it's a time. Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, cool.
Not
Great.
the real speaker. Yeah, good. Should be on.
Something needs to be muted.
You can't have both going at the same
But I have no volume in here. And no
We're sorry, Logan.
Good thing you got.
You don't want me to start pulling cords.
Okay.
Time 7:02 2, I call this session of the Whitewater Student Government to order. If you're ready, please rise alongside me as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much for being here. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Senator Carter,
Present.
Senator Beasley, Senator Brzezowski,
Present.
Senator Irwin,
Here.
Senator Gutzlaff, Senator Kourakopoulos, Senator Majors, here, Senator Patricas, Senator Thompson,
Present.
Senator Purnell,
Present.
Senator Reberg,
Present.
Senator Reyes,
Here.
Senator Schmidt,
Present.
Senator Wheaton, President, Speaker Wilson.
Present. Wonderful. And with that, we will move into special orders, starting with the Senate oath of office. So anyone who was appointed to a Senate seat last week and got their signatures verified by the clerk, you can come join me right here up front.
It's good, right?
That's good.
Big freshman class. Let me see. Given you have been chosen by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as a senator on this student government, understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of senators and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges it will include? If so, say, "We will to the best of our ability."
We will to the best of our ability.
Wonderful. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Emily
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
WSG standing rules,
and university policies
and university policies
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, folks. It's my pleasure to welcome you all, the newest senators of the Whitewater Student Government. You're all welcome to take a seat. And the placards are right over there. If you'd like to grab some new placards, I believe the Vice President has kindly made new placards for all of you. And congratulations. With that, we're going to move slightly out of order into guest speakers. We are going to start with Esther and Jackie Briggs, from Student Services and Training Specialists at the One Stop. So please join us up front. I believe you have a presentation. We'll let them speak, and then when they're finished, we'll ask you a couple questions.
Okay, well, I'm here to share some one-stop updates with y'all. I'll go right over here. Can y'all hear me? People online are recording. I know it's kind of weird. Okay. All right. Okay, you're good. Well, first, my name is Esther Frontudo. I'm the Student Services Specialist in the One Stop, and I'm here with Jackie Briggs, the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Enrollment and Retention. So those of you who don't know anything about the One Stop was opened on August 19th in accordance with the 2023 to 2028 strategic plan for our university. The main goal and focus of the strategic plan was to embrace the holistic approach to support services for students. Keeping that in mind, the One Stop services were established to make it easier for students to receive support from many different areas of campus, including services from academic, administrative, and student affairs. We serve all students on campus. The purpose of the One Stop is to support any sort of questions and any student who may have any questions. We have multiple contact methods to help reach all types of students, including online and part-time students. So we have a live chat, office phone, we have an email, we have an Instagram. We'll help students in any way that they contact us. The common questions surround financials, academics, and success coaching. In our office, students can access success coaching, our financial literacy center, financial aid drop-ins, and one-on-one support for all questions at any given time during our open hours. During our first year, our total number of interactions was a little over 2,300, which is an average of about 44 per week. The total number of unique students that we served was a little over 1,500. Throughout the past year, we have seen our student engagement increase, and this is mainly attributed to the expansion of our services and heightened campus awareness. During the past 4 weeks, our interactions were a total 287, which is about 72 a week, so we've seen a huge increase in our averages. Our financial literacy appointments were roughly 37, and our success coaching appointments were 68. Our programming, campus connections, and initiatives have also garnered attraction to our office. In addition to the services, we've tried to connect with different campus departments. Some examples of these events are Ask a Warhawk tabling earlier this semester, admitted Warhawk days, and SOAR resource fairs, and Check Your Holds events. The One Stop is also piloting One Stop open house and presentation series. Our next steps for phase 2 of the One Stop are still being determined. We have some listening sessions coming up in the near future. We encourage you guys all to attend. Do you have any questions?
Well, thank you so much. Any questions for the One Stop presentation there? Parliamentarian Nora?
Go back one page, sorry. We're gonna, obviously, you can have these slides, correct? So if there's more information coming out, I'm here to help just a little bit on the phase 2 of the One Stops. Thank you guys for all the great information. The phase 2 is really a great opportunity as well. Even after tonight, you can write down any questions that you might have, but phase 2 is really a time for us to take a pause, look at what has all occurred within that first year of an initiative, and really assess and better understand where we're doing well. Sorry, I'm not even speaking right. Where we're doing well and where we can improve, and what services maybe our students are still asking for or needing from us. So these sessions, I really want to make sure we advertise, and you'll be seeing a campus email come out soon, September 23rd and September 24th. There are listening sessions, and it's very important that we get that student voice in there. And we will also be following up to get some survey information for students who are unable to make it due to class. So I just wanted to really make sure we have those dates out there for you all.
Parliamentarian Nora?
Do you have, or would it be possible for someone to find the number of people who came to use the One Stop in the first 4 weeks of the past 2 semesters?
Yes, we could do that.
I will share August of last year was probably just as we were kicking off. I believe August 19th of 2024 was when we actually truly opened. And so we always take into account what it took to kind of get the word out there. And obviously we're excited to see the increase that Esther has shared this year. So that will definitely show some increase as to the fall and spring and what we're seeing this fall already. But we can get those for sure.
Any other questions? I have one.
Absolutely.
What do you think you see the most when a student drops by in One Stop? Here's a question.
It kind of depends on the time of year. So currently, most of our questions are financial related, and the student bill was due last Friday. In October, we'll likely see a lot of enrollment questions, stuff about academics. Towards the end of the year, we get a lot of commencement and just other enrollment questions, getting prepared for the spring. So it really kind of depends.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none, with that, thank you both so much. And we will move back into order on the agenda. So we are on to item B of special orders, appointment of 3 ESCR district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for an ESCR district seat? Alrighty. If the 4 of you could join us up here and please tell President Douglas Allen Bradley your full name.
Don't have your typewriter, Bill.
Speaking of full name.
Got the full name?
Full name for the drill.
Full name.
Speaker one. You see it.
Yeah, at least I think I'm not looking. Oh.
Alrighty, wonderful. The way we're going to do this is each candidate will get 3 minutes to tell them a little bit about themselves, why they want to be the next Escrow District Center of the Whitewater Street Government, name, major, those kinds of things. So your 3 minutes starts whenever you begin talking, and we'll just go right down the line to start.
All right. Hello, my name is Gabriel Giannetti, and I'm from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. My current major is Business Undecided, though that is expected to shift to political science very soon. Politics has been a major passion of mine throughout my life. In high school, I had the privilege of partaking in the simulation of state and local government at Badger Boys State, and later I participated in Model United Nations. While I find the general topic of history and politics fascinating and fun to learn, there is the simple fact that politics has a real impact on all of our lives. Since I was very young, I wanted to be able to make a positive difference in this world. This student government is in the unique position on campus to be the political bridge between the student body of UW-Whitewater and the faculty administration. Sorry. And I believe that because of that, this body has the ability to make a real impact in the direction of this campus for the better. Overall, I'm an eager collaborator and am willing to hear out almost any viewpoint to reach a decision that everyone can be satisfied with. It is for these reasons that I believe that I would be of value to this Senate and campus as a senator. Thank you.
Try again. I am back here demonstrating my passion for UW-Whitewater with a new, grounded perspective. Let's discuss some of the issues students face every day. Imagine that you have a last-minute assignment or a long-term reading assignment. Then, boom! Out of nowhere, the campus Wi-Fi shuts off. What are you going to do? Furthermore, when students walk back to their dorms in the cover of darkness, it causes deep concern for the students' safety. I promise a program for safe rides to dorms when it's dark during the winter months. And furthermore, I promise that we will negotiate and discuss a system to have better Wi-Fi for the campus. I have experience that relates to student government and running for senator. I completed a job shadow with a legislature, and I attended a healthcare meeting at the Wisconsin State Capitol. I learned how healthcare affects the community. I also completed another job shadow with an Iowa County prosecution lawyer, and I attended trials in the courtroom and at the county courthouse. I learned the pursuit of justice and equality. Try again. When we demonstrate persistence and work together, we will succeed at UW-Whitewater.
Hello, my name is Nathan Gielig. My major is political science. I would like to just reintroduce myself. I'm from a town called Mount Calvary, Wisconsin. I graduated from Chilton High School, a class of around 100 kids. When I was in high school, I participated in quite a few different groups. One that sticks out to me a lot is debate. I participated in debate for 4 years, and I also did forensics for 3 years. And this experience really did teach me a lot about public speaking and how to relate your world perspective to others, which is something that I find I am personally very good at, is coming to a common ground, understanding the other person and the situation that's going on. Last time I came up here, I said that I had seen certain issues and stuff, but in reality, that's not entirely the truth. I don't exactly know what this campus needs, but I want to learn and I want to help the student body in any way, shape, or form. So with that, I will pass the mic on.
Hi everyone, my name is Sean Lieber. I'm from Wisconsin-Whitewater, Wisconsin. My major is public policy and administration. The reason why I want to run for student senator is because I'm super passionate about government. I plan on pursuing a career in government. My past explains that I'm super passionate about it. I was a legislative assistant to a state rep. Before that, I was an intern for another state rep. And before that, I was a participant in the Senate Scholar Program. I want to use all that knowledge that I have obtained through all the program and all my experience working in the state legislature to bring to this campus and to help bridge the gap between the government of Whitewater to the students and, oh boy, I lost my train of thought. And then to represent the best of my constituents if I'm ever elected. So, thank you.
Thank you all very much. With that, we'll move into 3 questions. Does anybody have any questions? Just as a little reminder, questions must be phrased in a manner where all 4 candidates can answer, so don't ask any one candidate a question directly. We'll start with Senator Ponce.
In one word, explain your leadership style and why.
Open-minded, because this campus has a very big, has a lot of communities first off, and it's very diverse. And I think open-minded is the best way to not only proceed with issues that may arise if I'm elected to student senator, but it's the best way to tackle them with an open mind, because you never know what's gonna come up because this campus is so diverse.
Similar to Sean's, I would say mine is cooperation. As being part of, if I say I'm part of the Senate, you need to know how to cooperate with other people and come to a common ground to where you both have a mutual understanding.
Mine is discipline, because I made sure to work very hard and made sure I was prepared to be at this moment, right here, right now. Such as, take for example, drafting the speech. I literally made sure to go through a rough draft, and then I went through 3 more rough drafts just to get this speech. And furthermore, I also woke up at 4:00 a.m. to run again this morning, on top of studying for my homework and getting assignments done ahead of time. But that's just my school. I also want to be disciplined here at the Whitewater Student Council by listening to all students, learning, and doing what needs to be done to solve issues for Whitewater.
I believe my leadership style could best be described as even keel. I think that every situation needs to be addressed with a calm mind. I think situations are never resolved by yelling, and I would like to consider myself to be a fairly calm person, and that's kind of how I like to address when I've led projects and when I've collaborated with others.
Thank you all very much. We'll go to
Schroffnagel.
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 Senator Schroffnagel?
Yeah.
There we go.
If you could improve one of your leadership traits, what would it be and why?
My leadership trait I would improve is patience. I want to be more patient when I listen to people. I want to be patient with the passion of discipline to get stuff done. Because I understand that negotiation and the process of communication takes time and patience. But at the same time, you have to understand that Whitewater has demands. So, we will push with persistence, but have prudence and patience, so our legislation and everything is done correctly, so that we have the best outcome for UW-Whitewater.
I think that something that I can probably improve on is perhaps being more decisive at times. Sometimes I like to take things very slow and sort of assess all options, but sometimes, while that is a benefit, in some situations, decisive action is needed, and I think that is something that I do have to work on, so.
I'm Sean.
Could you, I kind of didn't hear the first part of the question. Could you repeat it real quick, please?
I was just wondering, like, if there was a leadership trait that you could improve on, like, what would it be and why?
I guess a leadership trait I could work on is, I guess working in a group, honestly. I kind of like to take things head on by myself, which, you know, doesn't seem cooperative with if I'm not elected to my colleagues, but I guess working on problems together is a trait that I think I should work on, and I will work on if I'm ever elected. But I would say just working with others is a trait that I need to work on.
Okay, sorry, he's stealing all my answers. But similarly to my last answer, I also think cooperation is also my trait that I need to work on the most, simply because the only reason why it's also my strongest is because I've worked on it so hard, and I know that I still have a long ways to go. Because personally, I know, like, when I have a vision in mind, I very much want to go by that and not by other people's standards. But I've learned over the years that getting input from others is better than not.
Thank you all very much. With that, we'll go to the last question, parliamentary or?
So you're all here because you want to serve the student body. If you don't get appointed to the Senate tonight, how do you plan to pursue that goal?
I do not know, if I'm being completely honest. This is really the only organization that I'm currently aware of. I mean, there's others, or not the only organization I'm aware of, but that, like, specifically has a very keystone role in the student community. But there's some other organizations I was eyeing up, considering joining, such as like LIT, things like that. But other than that, I'm not entirely sure.
What I would fix if I'm not elected to the Senate tonight would be, or what I would work on next would be, I would say just join a different club, learn different perspectives of what it's like, I guess, out there, and just learn the campus, because I am a freshman, so I have a lot to learn about this campus. But I would say just figuring out, learning things, I guess learning the lay of the land and joining stuff and getting involved, and I guess that's the best way to gain knowledge and gain knowledge on problems that may occur or things that we could fix, and advocate to all of you, of course. So that's what I would do.
I'm actually, right now I'm currently in forensics and public speaking club, and I'm trying to, and as you can tell, forensics has won a lot of championships, so I'm going to be a part of that team. Furthermore, I will join DECA, and I'm currently working on a book that I'm hoping to publish within my 4 years of college. And it's about a dystopian society, about a corporation ruling the world.
Well, first, I'd show up next week and try to get elected again. But in all seriousness, there are more than 100 student organizations on campus. While this is one of the more official ways to get involved and sort of influence the campus, like I was talking about earlier, it is not the only one. And there are plenty of other organizations on campus that can indirectly and somewhat directly influence campus, improve the lives of the students here, bringing issues to this body. And overall, again, you know, what we're all here for is to sort of represent the student body and improve their overall conditions here, make their stay as well as possible.
Thank you very much. With that, I will take a brief moment. Actually, before I go on, could you all say your last name into the microphone? Just one more time. Full name, too, if you'd like.
Gabriel Janetti.
Max Marty.
Nathan Gielig.
Sean Lieber.
All right, wonderful. Now that we have a face for all of the names, before we move on to a vote, I would quickly like to ask for unanimous consent, given last week's vote of the Senate, to continue with secret ballot votes for the remainder of the semester. Are there any opposed? On Senate appointments. Thank you very much. Any opposed? Going once, going twice. So moved. With that, we will move into a secret ballot vote. You can vote for one. You can vote for one name. You can vote for two names. You can vote for three names. You can't vote for all four because there are only 3 available spots.
Thank you. You did too, Marks, Max.
All right, in a vote of 16 to 11 to 5 to 14, congratulations to Lieber, Gulick, and Giannetti as the newly appointed senators of the Whitewater Student Government. Wonderful, and with that we are on to item C, appointment of one Drumlin District seat. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for a Drumlin District seat? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, with that we're on to one off-campus district seat. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for an off-campus district seat? Wonderful. Please join us up front and recite your name to Douglas Allen Bradley, our president. All righty, wonderful, sir. You'll get 3 minutes to tell us a little bit about why you want to be the next off-campus senator of the Whitewater Student Government, name, major, etc. And then we'll move on to questions. The floor is yours.
Sounds good. Thank you, Isaiah. Hello, everybody who I don't know. I'm Brody Large. I know a good amount of people in this room. Everybody who I don't know, I would love to meet, and I look forward to meeting you, hopefully. I'm a senior here on campus. I'm a marketing and management major. I've been involved in DECA in the past. I've been an RA, and more than just my qualifications, I'm 6'5". No. I've been on campus for 2 years, off campus for another. This is going to be my second year. I've seen what on-campus life looks like. I've been an RA. I've seen what in the res halls looks like, what our students are really looking for and what they need. I think I've got a pretty good grasp of it, and because of that, I think that I can make a pretty good leader on campus, and I would like to get a little bit more involved by joining students.
Thank you very much. With that, we'll go on to questions. Any questions for the candidate? Deputy Speaker Troops.
What surprised you the most about this starting this academic year?
This academic year? The size of the freshman class is what surprised me the most. When somebody told me that it was one of the biggest that we've seen in a long time, that was surprising to me. And then once all of them got onto campus and I saw them all getting involved, asking me questions, my wonderful UEDs, who a few of them are in the room today, they all, made me a little bit hopeful for the future of Whitewater, and I know that it's in good hands. I think that was my biggest surprise.
Thank you very much. Senator Puzzle?
If time, labor, or money was a non-factor, what would you fix about campus and why? And I'm going to add stipulation, you cannot mention parking, dining, or housing.
Okay. I would make it so that all of the buildings on campus are as good as Highland Hall. Highland is obviously state of the art, very, very nice building. And I think that if time, labor, and money were not involved, I think every building on campus could look like that or better. I think that would be probably what I would change if I couldn't change dining, housing, or parking.
Senator Lang?
What do you think is the most important attribute for someone in student government to have?
Ears. I think listening and being able to hear what your constituents and what your colleagues think and need is the most important skill. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and using the 2 ears more often than the mouth is I believe what is most important when it comes to actually deciding what is good policy, what is good change for campus, and what will benefit the most total students.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? From once? From twice? Seeing none, with that, we will move on to a secret ballot vote. You can write the candidates' names. You can write aye. You can write nay. Close your eye.
His last name is Large.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
I'll play real through.
No.
And I guess.
All righty, wonderful. Congratulations. Newly appointed Senator Large in a vote of 16-1. You are the newest senator of the off-campus district. Wonderful. With that, we will move into the appointment of 2 Rock County district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for a Rock County district seat? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none, with that, we are on the appointment of 1 at-large district seat. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for an at-large district seat? Wonderful. You come join us up here at the podium. Please recite your name to Student Body President Douglas Allen Bradley.
Yes, you would still look right. Ever since I was in middle school, I always looked up to Whitewater, seeing the beaming purple with a blaze of glory and might. I walked into this campus with a bright-eyed and blue-eyed spirit, and then I saw the banner saying, "We are Warhol." Now, I'm in this moment right here. I am running for an at-large Senate district for Whitewater Student Council. With all of your faith in me, I hope with my heart, my soul, and my passion towards politics, I will do my best to represent all students at Whitewater Student Council. No matter who you are or what you believe in, I promise to work every day, every night, and be committed towards getting a good job at Whitewater.
Thank you very much. With that, we will move into questions. Are there any questions for the candidate tonight? Senator Light?
What do you think is the most important duty that we perform as student government members?
We have to listen. Listening, I believe, is very important, and also making sure we have intention to communicate to all students. Always make sure that I hear what students want to say, and always make sure to understand and have empathy with a guidant and prudent leadership.
Well, are there any other questions? Senator Wheaton?
If you were a tool in the toolbox, what would you be and why?
What did you say again?
If you were a tool in a toolbox, what would you be and why?
I would be a ruler, because a ruler, you have to measure twice and cut once. I would want to be the person to double check and measure twice before we do something.
Well, are there any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none, with that, we'll move into a secret ballot vote. You should have your papers already passed out. You can write aye, you can write nay, or you can write no. Congratulations, newly appointed Marty, in a vote of 7-4. You are 11-4. You are our newest appointed senator in the Whitewater Student Government. Wonderful. With that, we are on to the next guest speaker section. We're on to item B for our peep talk. So we use some funny words and some interesting language in here sometimes. And as we're all getting accustomed to the space, one of our rituals is to kind of have our advisor and our director of student affairs come up and tell us a little bit about what the word peep means. So please, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Hello, everyone, and everyone who's joined us in the gallery. In my long tenure, I guess I'll use those words, we talk a lot about representation in this body. Sorry, I thought I was in your way again. So we wanted to share a few things with you, because so much of what we do needs to be inclusive in order for you to be able to do what you're here to do. Inclusive representation is really about having equal access to people to have the opportunities and resources of all the students on our campus. You can be inclusive here in WSG by helping guests and people that talk to you be seen in meetings. So making sure that they know that they're welcome here, what to expect during the meetings, and to think of a broader section of the student population than just your own experiences when you're making decisions and taking actions. I think the last one too is just making sure that our representation of other students, whether it's cultural or other identities they may have, are very authentic, and so we're respecting them. Why is it important? Identity can really help you feel or be excluded. Sometimes I think we've all had those moments where you kind of walk into the room and you feel like you don't belong. That's not what students should feel in this opportunity here. And it's part of your job to help them feel heard. So I think one of the candidates tonight said listening, right, is a big part of this job. And that students will be more likely to bring us issues or bring barriers to us if they feel heard. So you have to be willing to engage with them. You have to feel awkward in meetings where you've never been before. So how can you foster those connections? You can be curious about others or of others. You can be intentionally inviting by using language and help that fosters a sense of belonging for folks. You can be aware of any bias that you have. We all have biases. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It's part of the human condition. We all judge, we all have bias, but when we use it in a punitive way or a malicious way, that's when it's a problem. Using language that's inclusive to show a visible commitment and to have a sense of humility is important to what we do as well. Being kind, polite, and thinking of others are also ways that you can foster those connections. It hates me. There it is. Yeah.
Okay, so we mentioned a little bit inclusive language. So we're going to give some examples of what inclusive language is. It's communication that respects and acknowledges all people. It tries to avoid biases and assumptions. Why this matters in student government? Like Jan said, we represent all students. All of them should feel comfortable to come here and have their issues heard. Small word choices can build trust, and they can also create barriers. So some quick examples: instead of saying, "Hey guys," use "Hey everyone," or instead of saying "That's so crazy," use something like "That's surprising" or "unexpected." I was just talking to one of our senators about inclusive language the other day, and my quick pro tip for using inclusive language is just to be more descriptive. If you're using something that is, let's use crazy for an example. If you're wanting to describe why, instead of using the word crazy, describe why that's crazy. Was that surprising to you? Was it unexpected? Was it anything else? Right? Was it unusual? Use more descriptive words instead of those quick shorthand words.
So there are some core principles that I think talk about all these pieces that we're talking about. One, there's 5 of them. You all could read up there, but I'm just going to go quickly through them. Gender neutrality is one of those things that can be really helpful to make people feel like they fit in. It didn't used to be acceptable in papers up until maybe 4 years ago on campus to use inclusive language as it relates to pronouns. And that's not something that I'm proud of that we have on our campus, but it's a really easy way to be very general if you don't know. You can say they, them, and it doesn't, until you know or until you ask, right? Everyone. I say folks a lot. I'm sorry, I learned how to talk in the South, so you'll hear me say y'all. Or warhawks. Those are all ways to not commit to yourself something that you don't know about an individual. The second one is really respecting identities. We all have identities. It's just not pronouns, it's just not gender expression, it's not political ideology, it's not your personal, all of those things are identities, so they're not one thing. The examples that I decided to give you is that, say student organizations, not clubs for those people, right? We just say student organizations, or we don't want to say frats or jocks, right? Those words are not descriptive enough, as Orrin said before, but they also have negative connotation of someone's identity, something that's important to them. Ability awareness is something that Orrin and I both are very passionate about. It's the same thing about using words that may be slang or quick and easy to use, but are offensive to folks. Saying, oh, that's lame, or it's a crippled system. You could just replace that so easily by saying this isn't working, or it's outdated, or it's challenging. Use the vocabulary that I know you all have in this way, and will help people feel like they're seen here. Cultural awareness. So be mindful of slang that don't translate cross-culturally. Words that shouldn't even be used. So I'm Native, and when people say Indian giver, doesn't really make me feel very welcome, right? We all know singing along with songs in the hip hop genre doesn't go well if you don't identify with some of the words that are in that genre, right? You just shouldn't say them. So being aware of cultural bias or cultural inappropriate language is pretty important too. And then the last one is really person-first language. Students should always come first in what we do, right? So person first, so a student with disability versus a disabled student. There is a change on the horizon, or currently some people prefer the other way, and that's okay too. But the biggest part is that you want to focus on the person and not the label, and let that person follow that person's lead when they let you know how they want that to be expressed when describing them.
So this is hard, right? Habits are hard to change. I say crazy all of the time, and have to catch myself on it, right? So if you slip up, the correct way to go is just to apologize briefly, self-correct it, and move on. I know from experience that when people get my pronouns wrong, right? If someone is consistently apologizing, there comes a point where it becomes about you and not about the person who you've harmed. So think about it that way, right? So keep learning. Know that language evolves. Like Jan said, person-first language for disability advocacy is shifting. So be curious, don't be defensive, and let's help each other. So we have something that Jan mentioned earlier called PEEP, which stands for 4 different types of safety. It's physical, environmental, emotional, and psychological. So if you spot something or hear something that doesn't really feel safe in any of those ways, what we do here is we just say PEEP to that person, accuse them to think back on what they've said or what they're doing, kind of assess and see if they can figure out what is unsafe, and then self-correct and move on.
Perfect. So we're all just going to practice. So could we all just say PEEP?
PEEP. PEEP.
You know, sometimes if someone has repeatedly in the same sentence said things that don't work, that PEEP can get louder, right? But mostly all it ever takes is PEEP, right? We're doing that to call people in. We're not embarrassing. I'm not going to be like, PEEP from the other side of the room unless it's really bad. But it's really important for us to be able to correct each other. People in the gallery, you're welcome to PEEP as well. So work on your PEEP skills back there and teach other people about PEEPing. I guess it's a verb now, sorry. But it's really important to try to do that. So, you know, you guys know.
PEEP.
Thank you for correcting me. That's how we corrected you in this presentation, so thanks so much. So I challenge you all. So steps to become more inclusive, really hold yourself accountable and be curious. There's much to be learned on the planet from one another. Try to listen without judgment and ask questions. It's not about the argument, it's about the opportunity to learn from one another about an issue. Call it out when you see non-inclusive behavior. Be an agent of change. It is a powerful place to help others do that. So I would encourage you to really use your position in Whitewater student government to be an agent of change. Check yourself. Be aware of your biases. I have several. I used to drive in Florida a lot, so people behind the wheel that are older than me really frustrate me. I know that that's a bias that I have, so know what your biases are so you don't do things that you're ashamed of yourself later. And most importantly, ask who is not being heard. Who's not being heard? Is it because they're talking and we're not listening, or is it because they don't feel comfortable talking, right? Accept PEEP as a kind of reminder, right? Make sure that we're doing that for one another. And just get out of your comfort zone, be brave, don't be complacent, be willing to engage with others. There's a person in this room that I've misgendered so many times I'm ashamed to admit it publicly, but I'm going to, because it's important to know that that matters to that person to such a huge extent that if I did not know them as well as I do know, I wouldn't understand how detrimental my, I would say, attention to detail was on that person. It wasn't intentional, but it was a struggle for me. So we know that it's an ongoing skill for us all, and it really needs to be centered on representation. It's really about what you're supposed to be doing with people that are like you and people that are different than you. So think about that as you move forward in your representational role for the semester. And I look forward to hearing peeps, but less peeps as we go on, because you won't need to hear them. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I believe we yield.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Do we have any questions for our guest speakers about anything that was covered? Do you guys have any questions?
Pete.
Oh, there we go, there it is. All right, wonderful. Thank you all so much. With that, we will move on to the approval of the agenda and minutes, starting with the minutes from September 8th, 2025. Clerk West?
If someone could make a motion not to approve it, right? Or just to vote agenda?
Yeah, we'll just vote from the agenda.
Due to me being out last week, both sick and on crutches, and the meeting being over 4 hours long, I did not get to getting the minutes completed, and it will be up next week instead.
Deputy Speaker Patrice?
I move to postpone the consideration of the minutes from September 8th, 2025, 1 week.
Can I get a second? Seconded by Senator Carter. Can I get a voice vote?
Acclamation.
Wonderful. Any opposed? Going once, going twice. Seeing none. With that, the minutes from September 8th, 2025 have been postponed for 1 week. With that, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda for September 15th, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve? Senator Cox?
Motion to approve.
Seconded by Senator Rice. Can I get a voice vote?
Acclamation.
Any opposed? Going once, going twice. Seeing none. With that, the agenda for September 15th, 2025 has been approved unanimously. With that, we're on student issues and concerns. Are there any student issues and concerns tonight in the gallery? Alrighty, wonderful. This is a 3-minute section where anyone from the gallery can speak uninterrupted for 3 minutes. It just can't be about anything listed on the agenda here. So if there's anything on the agenda that is not allowed, but otherwise, feel free to say whatever you'd like.
So, at UW-Whitewater, we had a big problem, and that big problem was the Wi-Fi that shut out. We really need to get Wi-Fi because we all have assignments that need to get done in order for us to get the A for our class assignments. Because it is the year 2025, and everything is all done on Canvas. And after all, we're paying them. We have a responsibility to do that job, and we have a responsibility to get better Wi-Fi for all students, so they can complete their assignments on an efficient manner without having to worry about technology and dealing with computer problems. I yield my time to the council.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Are there any other student issues and concerns of the gathering tonight? Going once, going twice. Seeing none. With that, we're on to reports, starting with external committee reports of which we have none, internal committee reports of which we have none, so we're on to officer reports, starting with the report of our president. Doesn't sound right.
All right, guys.
Pete.
So from last week at a few meetings, BSU had their first meeting as Black Student Union. They are our neighbors in the Warhawk Connection Center, the WCC. So if you hear me say BSU, WCC, Warhawk Connection Center, Black Student Union. And so they had a little get to know you, all the different student organizations that are in and share our space in the WCC, had a kind of time to introduce themselves. I went to that with Vice President Boehm and Speaker Wilson. We had a great time. It was quite a large turnout. So if anybody's interested in joining the Black Student Union, I know they always have meetings open. It's actually the only student organization I've paid my dues for all 4 years. So anybody can join that organization. Last week, our cabinet also met and had check-in and some one-on-ones with different members of the organization. And on Friday, a full day, essentially 9 to 5, of some NALT department overview meetings. NALT is a non-alcohol leadership team, for new folks in the room. This morning actually, Director Smith and I met about some legislation that you'll be seeing coming to the floor soon. It'll be an R bill. Also tomorrow morning, the University Center Operations Director, there's a search and screen meeting that I'll be attending with Deputy Speaker Patricus, and through his role as a SUFAC chair. Also, our NALT department overview meetings continue. There's a couple tomorrow. Faculty Senate meets tomorrow, which I will be unable to attend as I have NALT. If anybody wants to start attending those as our official rep, come let me know. We'll start sending you on behalf of Whitewater Student Government. Also, the Chancellor's Committee on Student Success meets. Our cabinet will be meeting again. And I have a meeting with Gabby Drale, and a new one that I haven't added. I have a meeting with one-on-one with Kristen Philhauer to work through the, what's what I'm looking for, the makeup of the Chancellor's Student Advisory Council. And then something I'm new, I'm trying to give you a little heads up to things that are going on next week. The Chancellor, Vice Chancellors, and Shared Governance Leaders meet regularly, either bi-weekly or monthly. So the first one of those, the UWWF is the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater Foundation. They have a committee called the PAE Committee, that's Philanthropy and Alumni Engagement. So we will be meeting, again, our cabinet meets weekly. Cabinet is all the executives at this table. And for those of you who don't know, University of Wisconsin-Whitewater is part of the Universities of Wisconsin, one of 13 flagship campuses. And they have 2 days of training for all members from all campuses involved in shared governance. And those will be in Madison, so we'll be attending those. As always, reach out with questions. Have a great week. Go Warhawks. And I yield.
Any questions? Vice President Doug Bradley. Once, twice. Seeing none, with that, we're on the report of our Vice President. Right.
Awesome. So for last week, got to the office of the board, some organization cleaning. I have check. Awesome. I have the binders completed by now. So if you signed up for a binder last week, please come see me after. We'll go down to the office, get you assigned to a binder, and you'll have your very own Senate binder then. So like Doug said, I was able to attend VSU last week with Speaker Wilson as well. We had some NALT meetings, which I will be catching up on. And then reverse tabling last week, which was very successful. I have 3 organizations that are looking to potentially collaborate with us and get more involved with WSG. So if you're interested in any of that, collaborating with other student orgs, please come see me after. I'll be starting our director one-on-ones this week, some more NALT deliberations, cabinet, and then also 2 more things. For binders, if you need one and were inducted today, please come see me. I'll get you signed up for one right here. And then also office access. I'll be updating that this week. So everybody, please come see me after the meeting. I have my little notebook right here. Please write your first and last name and then your hot card number, and hopefully we'll get that ready for you by the end of the week. And with that, I'll yield to Speaker Wilson.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any questions for Vice President Bain, parliamentarian, or?
What are the 3 student organizations you're considering collaboration with?
Thank you. So, American Marketing Association, Pi Sigma Epsilon, and Black Student Union. There were a couple other folks that were looking to collaborate too, but I don't want to lead anybody astray because nothing is set in stone at the moment.
President Bradley?
Vice President Bain, you mentioned an office access. Can you explain what the office is and where it is?
Yes, so the office is UC 140. It is down in the Warhawk Connection Center. For those of you who don't know where that is, you can come follow us on a quick tour after the Senate meeting, and I'll show everybody where that is.
Any other questions for Vice President Bain? We got it.
What type of work will be done in the office, and how do we make sure we do it effectively?
I'm going to yield to the deputy speaker or parliamentarian.
Yeah. So every week you're required to do 1 office hour. So you go sit in the WSG office for an hour. It's pretty much that. The time is yours to do what you want with, right? But you are expected to be there and be ready for if a student comes in with a concern, which they do, and they have, and I've gotten a couple already this semester. Yeah.
We've also got lots of great resources in there about how the organization works. When we take our tour down there after this, I'd be happy to show you. Any other questions from Vice President? From once, from twice? Seeing none, with that, we are on to the report of our WSG Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to pass this out very quickly. During my advisory reports, I'd like to share some information with all of you. It's 3-hole punch, so you can put it in your binder if you'd like. Tonight's topic is legislation. You'll get more training on that at our retreat on the 3rd. But in finding my handout, I found a really cool list that lists all the pieces of legislation, starting in 96, 97. So I'm gonna leave these extra copies of it with the clerk, so you can go check it out when you're in your office hour. It'll be something fun to look at. Madam Clerk, I gave you a copy of your own. You may have heard some folks last week talking about legislation and writing legislation. So I wanted to share with everyone really the steps that we've used very effectively, I think, and your predecessors have in writing and pursuing addressing campus issues through the legislative power and authority that Whitewater student government has. So that first step, thank you, President Bradley, that first step is really about figuring out what's not being met, what's wrong, what do students need that they don't have, and then who is that administrative responsibility? So let's say you think there isn't an organization that our campus needs, right? So who would you talk to from the administrative side of the house about a student org? Anyone? Me. You would talk to student activities and involvement, Kim Clarkson specifically, but you want to find the university side of the house and who has the direct responsibility for that area, so you can learn a little bit about why that might not be the way that it is. You'll also be able to ask that person to help you find out what are the financial responsibilities of that work and what it might take to change it in the way that you're thinking. So you want to make sure that you talk to the university quote-unquote side of the house. You also should talk to the e-board side of the house because they have existing relationships with some of those folks. And they also may have some more information that may help you dial in what you're looking for. Another part is think about who all the stakeholders are. If it's something to do with Williams Center, maybe you should talk to who?
The sports director.
Right? Athletes I heard, the sports director I heard, right? People that use the Williams Center more than you might. The other part of it is really who will be impacted by the change. So it may be that community members might be impacted by the change. Or our rock students might be affected by the change. So making sure that you identify all those players, all those pieces of the puzzle. Step 2 is really gather. Get the data. Every campus department and unit collects data. Then all people will agree with this because they got lots of data on Friday from a lot of people, right? Know what it costs. What are the policies that it impacts or might be related to it? You can read all these things, right? And then when you're gathering that data, also gather opinions of people. Talk to faculty, talk to the e-board, talk to your advisor. Talk to people that can give you some sense of a little broader perspective than you may have. Now the step 3, and everybody probably thinks that it maybe should have been 1, but step 3 is really coming up with viable solutions. What do you want the solution to be? What's the impact of that? If I think buying everybody French fries on Tuesday night is the solution, right? What is that going to cost our campus to do that? Who should be buying the French fries? How are we going to disperse the French fries? So that's all the pieces of the solution, and that solution should have some evaluative process. If you look at the list that I gave to the clerk, there are a lot of great pieces of legislation in there, but I don't know if they worked because there wasn't any evaluative piece to know if that solution worked. So know what that piece of that is, and then also know how you apply it across our shared governance piece. The last part is really building understanding of the issue, building and narrowing feasible solutions. It took student government probably 6 to 8 weeks to narrow some of the parking solutions that they put forward a year ago? No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, a long time ago. And then build a proposal. right? And build a proposal again, that's not a typo, right? Really look at that from a lot of different places and get people looking at it early. I think the other part of building, which is another important part for us to think about really, is how do you build allies in solving and executing, if you can. Those allies can be in this body, but it also can be outside of this body. If it's a solution that impacts the residence halls, maybe we should be talking to Liz, right? So you're talking to something outside of there. And obviously at that point, you're going to find WSG sponsors, right, for your piece of legislation if you need it. And supporters of your solution. And then the last step is really the writing of the ledge. It's if you find a solution, there's not an administrator who can just do a quick fix, because that absolutely is possible. I've seen this body actually take a pretty big issue to someone, and in less time than it would take to write and to review and to pass a piece of legislation by this body, they have solved the problem. So this is an efficiency issue also. So it's something to think about that way. Then you start the actual writing of the legislation, and we'll talk more about the specific whereases, furthermores, and all those really interesting shapes and sizes of legislation. But I think the best part about that is having some people look at it and to see what is missing. And to be very, I guess, open to what those suggestions are, and know that ultimately if you're writing it with a co-sponsor, because that's what our rules require, that should be a collaborative piece that's easier to do at that point because you've gathered all the data. All the things that you would put in the ledge, you already have the steps. And so these 5 steps probably are super long, so I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, for talking so long in my report. But this is something that I try to do once a year, and I didn't want to burden us at training to do that. But if you're looking to solve a solution, to me, finding the quickest solution that is the most comprehensive is really what you're after. Sometimes that will be ledge, sometimes it won't. So make sure you're keeping your mind open to both. Any questions for me, Mr. Speaker? I'll yield to them.
Wonderful. Before we move on to questions, for those of you who have been in the room for a considerable amount of time, or at least one of you for a non-considerable amount of time, you've seen this before, because I give it as a handout or a digital version at every one of my Senate one-on-ones, generally speaking. So I had my first Senate one-on-one last week, if you don't mind me calling you out. New Senator Danny Lang, and I gave him this exact sheet. So there are other copies downstairs in the Senate office as well, if you'd like additional copies. And if you would allow me to tell a quick parable, and maybe I'll tell it alongside the president if he feels so inclined.
I'm inclined.
Our freshman year, were appointed mere weeks away from each other. If I remember correctly, I was 2 or 3 weeks before you, but who's counting really? So we met and became best friends through this organization, but a lot of that friendship was kindled through the shared drive for making campus change. And we launched many initiatives. And one of those initiatives was we walked around the entire University Center, and Doug Bradley, who has much better handwriting than me, had a clipboard and a campus map printed, and we highlighted where every set of cameras was in the University Center, because we had somebody come in to the WSG office, and we were the only 2 there. And similar to the way we operate now, we spend just about our entire lives in that office. So
when you're not in class.
When we're not in class. So we had somebody come in and say, I had my backpack stolen, what should I do? So we got them to info services, we got them to campus police, but after that we said, we got to solve this problem, right? So we went around, we counted cameras all over the University Center, we brought our little map to then Speaker Justin Westlake and President Will Haynes, and we said, look at what we did, look at how good we are, we're writing legislation. And we said, I think you might be a little, you might be putting the cart in front of the horse, folks. So it's stories like that, and I'll yield to President Bradley for the other student affairs executive oversteps out of the House. Please involve our Deputy Speaker as well.
I intend to. So a couple weeks after I was appointed, if I'm not mistaken, one Nicholas Patricus was appointed, and the 3 of us said, you know what, we're hearing lots of concerns about housing, and we want to get involved. We're going to go right to the top and schedule a meeting with the executive director of housing. And so we did that, and we met with Terry Tamburello and quickly kind of realized that we were in over our heads. And we wanted to write legislation about how the residence halls should be kept up to code.
Shower heads.
We had 2 ideas. We had a lot of ideas. We still do, I promise. And so we started with residence halls should be kept up to code. Then we realized the problem with that piece of legislation. It insinuates that they aren't kept up to code, and they 100% are, I guarantee you. So Terry was not really having it. And we said, you know what, okay, shower heads? And we got some push, some movement there, but we came back to the office afterwards, and as you can imagine, the director of student affairs at the time was not too thrilled that we went around him and had a meeting with the director, because our directors and our cabinet worked really hard to build relationships with people. So he had a relationship with Terry, and we totally went out, we broke the path we should have taken and didn't get a lot done and made some folks angry, but we've recovered now, and it's a fun little story that we can tell you all about how it's really important that you follow these steps so that we can ensure that as an organization we keep with how we do things and how we've done things in the past.
And if you'd like that story memorialized for yourself and to add 3 wonderful LinkedIn connections, you can scroll back on our timelines on LinkedIn, because we were so green at the time that after our meeting with Terry, we said, I think we should post about this on LinkedIn. so we posted. Thank you so much, Interim Executive Director of Housing, Terry Tamburello, for a wonderful meeting talking about housing concerns. That's Doug and I's little parable about why.
Many apologies to Chairman Emeritus Matthew Schweiner.
So that's our little parable about why we see this as an important guideline or scaffolding that you may use. You're completely free to disregard it, but it makes your life in this organization so much easier and a little bit more important, probably more effective if you follow these guidelines. Any questions for Advisor Billigan? Going once?
In my 2006 binder.
Really?
Wow. So just remember that you don't have to recreate the wheel. People may give you parts of the wheel by stuff that they've already done, so you don't have to walk around the UC and count the cameras, because someone in the room could have told them how many cameras there were in the building, right? So use your resources. I know, how could you know, right? But I'm telling this group now, if I don't know, I'm gonna tell you who does. Or other people. So please feel free to use your resources. And if there is a topic that you'd like me to share during my report, there won't always be a P presentation, but I'm happy to mix up my order of things that I happily do every Monday night. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Wonderful. Any questions for Advisor? Going once, going twice. Seeing now, without running board report, starting the report, Advisor Director of Academic Fair.
Hi everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. So last week, me and Olivia tag teamed some meetings with the deans. So one of them was with Mike Dugan, who's the Dean of the College of Arts and Communication. So some of the things that we talked about, there's a new director of the Young Auditorium that started today. There's also a $15 million music renovation that is going to be happening. Goal is to conclude by fall 26. And then they're doing some work with enrollment in the college and growing the communications and media arts and game development program. We also met with Lana Collette-Klingenberg and Paul Ambrose, but I'm going to let Olivia talk about those. And we also had a meeting with interim provost Robin Fox. So last week I talked about the general education requirement change, and so we dived deeper into that. So if you have any questions, you can come ask me after the meeting and I'm happy to share more. We also talked about 2 other areas in the academic space that is going to be a focus for this year, which is going to be the undergraduate research and then dual enrollment as a pathway for students into higher education. And then we also discussed the one-stop, but that was also discussed today. And then I had a discussion with Director Smith about the withdrawal process. I was at tabling for the involvement fair, and then I also was at NOTE. So for this week, we have meetings with Jessica Stein, who's the interim director of career services, STELIC meeting, and I'll touch more on that next week and show you what that platform looks like. A meeting with Marissa Gruel-Hainstock, who's the Director of Academic Advising, and then continuing to go to NALT. I will be at Faculty Senate, so that is something, or a meeting that I go to every other week, and then SUFAC. And then a last reminder, tonight is the last day to drop a course without getting a W. So you have less than 4 hours to do that, and if you need to, please do so tonight. And with that, I yield to any questions.
Any questions for our Director of Academics?
What is a W?
A W is a withdrawal.
Oh.
Wait, actually. Yes. Yes. That is what that is.
Can I ask a follow-up? What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. So that would mean that if you technically that you withdraw, so you would not be in the course with the same label as everybody else. So withdrawing, you are pulling from the course later.
Would that reflect?
Yes, I'm gonna yield. I should know that, but.
I know this because I have many W's. When you withdraw from a class with a W, that W shows up on your official transcript, right, in the list of classes you've taken. So it shows that you started a class and you withdrew from that class. It's nothing bad. I got into grad school with 3 W's. It's okay. But it is something to be mindful of. If you withdraw before midnight tonight, you withdraw without record of having taken that class at all.
Wonderful. Any other questions for our Director of Academic Affairs? From Miguel.
W could mean Warhawks or Wisconsin.
Let's keep it to the form of a question, but yes. I guess it could. It could also be win. With that, we'll move on to the report of our Associate Director of Academic Affairs, Lydia.
Hello everyone, I hope you all have a great week. So to start off, we had a meeting with the Dean of College of Education and Professional Studies. So we talked about the Winther and Heine renovations that are going to be happening. They are currently in the planning stage of figuring out where all those additional classrooms in Winther are going to go as the building is under construction. They have figured out most of those spaces and the rest will be identified later in the semester. They also talked about the Wisconsin intern program with our student teachers. So that is a fun program that they're rolling out, which allows student teachers to get an additional stipend and also allows them to be the head teacher in the classroom for half a day. So it gives the student a bit more, I'm blanking on the word, experience, there we go. And then with our meeting with the Dean of College of Business and Economics, there was a lot that we talked about. So we talked about kind of online education, how Kobe does their online education, which was really interesting. And then they also hired a second career advisor. I believe their name is Adam Rosenkopf. So now they have a second career advisor. They also mentioned that there's this new headshot photo booth where you can go get your headshot taken. I literally just used it this morning. It was really, really cool. So you basically sit down and it takes 3 photos. It kind of directs you on how to pose. And that was really helpful for me because I just kind of sit and smile at the camera, not knowing what to do. But yeah, it was really interesting. And then there also is a entrepreneurship program that they're launching, which allows students to get a bit of a stipend if they want to start up their own business, as well as a mentor for them to kind of work with. And it's kind of an independent study, but more on the entrepreneurship side. And then, I'm just double checking my notes here. I believe that's about it.
Well, are there any questions for Director Gross? Senator Rainey.
Regarding the Winther renovations, do they have an estimated start date for that project?
Yes, the start date, the groundbreaking ceremony happens December 4th and 5th. So that's kind of the start date.
Director Schmidt.
That super cool headshot thing you're talking about, is that free for students to use?
Yes, it is free for students to use.
Are there any other questions, Deputy Speaker True?
Where is it located right now?
It is located in Highland Hall. They have their College of Business Advising sort of center, kind of like that main lobby area under like those big stairs. It's in there.
Any other questions going once, going twice? Seeing none, with that, we'll move on to the report of our Director of Student Affairs.
Hey y'all, last week I had many two-on-ones with many people that you can read in the digital packet you were sent. We are essentially doing introductory two-on-ones with 14 or 15 different people over this last week and the next couple of weeks before we kind of split up our external duties. Last week I met with Director Reiser, as well as had a one-on-one with the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Kristen Philpower, attended Cabinet, attended and spoke at the State Assembly's public hearing on Assembly Bill 236 with Deputy Speaker Patricus, and I attended the College Republicans Memorial for Charlie Kirk. The week ahead, we have some two-on-ones with Athletic Director Ryan Callahan. We had a two-on-one this morning, and we also had one with the Executive Director of University Housing, Terry Tamborello. Later this week, we have a two-on-one with Veteran Services Coordinator Amy Moore. I have a one-on-one with Director Kelleher, and I will be out of state and unavailable on Thursday and Friday. So any student affairs questions, please direct to Director Kelleher. And my student affairs facts, I know it says PEEP, but I actually do have one. There's a service on campus called the Campus Safety Walk, for those of you who don't know about that service. It's a program on campus organized by UWWPD and campus safety officers. You can request a safety escort anytime if you are on or adjacent to campus if you call 262-472-4660 or just Google UWW Campus Safety Walk. I yield to questions.
Any questions for Director Smith? Senator Dole.
Can we get that phone number again?
Yeah, 262-472-4660.
Well, any other questions? Going once, going twice? Seeing none, with that, we're on the report of our Associate Director, Student Affairs, Kevin Keller.
Hope everybody had a great weekend. I won't bore you with going through all those meetings again, but some good news from Lana. Since switching over to our new dining vendor Charwell's, the usage is up 11%, and this year, the first couple of weeks, we're up another 3.5% to 5%. So that's good news. Other things I did this last week, I tabled at the involvement fair, met some Greek orgs and meet the Greeks. That was fun. And I attended Cabinet. This week we'll be continuing those two-on-ones. I'll be meeting with Speaker Wilson and going to continue to dive into some data on third-year retention, as well as meal plan affordability in comparison across our state schools. A few announcements. We have Family Fest coming up October 3rd and 4th. There's going to be a ton of different events around campus, and they're all a ton of fun, so try to make some of those. And of course, make the football game where we will be lacrosse. And then if you need to contact me when, at any time, remember to use the email wsgasa@uww.edu. So any contacts that involve WSG, shoot them there. I yield to questions.
Wonderful. Are there any questions for Director Keller? From the Gap.
For Family Fest, are we going to have a special event or a booth set up?
I would yield to the... No, we will not.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice? Seeing none, with that, we're on the report of our Director of Communications. Kate Lundgren.
Good evening, y'all. So last week I tabled at the involvement fair, which I did end up posting a few Instagram stories. Had a one-on-one with President Bradley, designed some Instagram graphics as well. This week I will be filming some TikTok content, finishing up designing the new e-board plaques, taking some director headshots, and having my one-on-one with Vice President Payne. I yield to any questions.
Wonderful. Are there any questions for our Director of Communications, Jason? Once, going twice? Seeing none, with that, we are on to the report of our WSG clerk. Stage you
Hey y'all. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a long one, and I beg of you to save the virtual version of this so you can refer to it. If you didn't get our packet sent out today, let me know and I can get it to you today. And so sorry about last week. I was out, I was very sick, I couldn't walk, and I was able to attend most of the meeting online, so that was pretty cool. But because of that, I'm very behind on lots of things, this and just everything else. So thank you to everyone for helping and helping again today. So this week is recruitment week, as I'm in PhD, so I'll be a little spotty in the office and getting things done, but I'll get the required stuff done on time. A cabinet, and meeting with Advisor Bilgan, updating the website, and then the Senate election. So in a little bit, you'll get to see the Senate election calendar, and for that, I'm going to talk about the calendar itself, and I'm going to focus now instead on some various information I think is important. So the Senate will be able, if the Senate approves the 2025 Senate election calendar tonight, that means that we will be in an active election. So during this time, there's some rules in Section 11 of our standing rules, which need to be followed. And if you were here in the spring, it's very similar. So I cannot stress enough that there's no election talk in the office unless it's a clarifying question directed towards myself, a member of the committee, or Advisor Bilgan. And if you're caught doing this, you'll either receive a violation or be sent to the internal evaluation committee, whichever is more relevant to you. And I do already have little posts up in the office reminding not to talk about the election. So I'll be printing off one copy of Section 11 of the standing rules and leaving it in the outer office. We also do have these standing rules on our website, and I encourage you to review it ASAP, even if you think you have the whole thing memorized. Every time I look through the standing rules of the Constitution or whatever else, I always find new information that surprises me. So I'll highlight in the paper copy some spots I think may be relevant to you, and I just encourage you trying to know. And please review what can be a violation. I'll have that whole page highlighted. And speaking of violations, there will be a violation box that will be at the table outside the office. I'll accept them through email or a physical one in the box, and I'll go through specifics of that during the information session if you decide to come to it, or you can just ask me. If this calendar passes, some of the closer and relevant dates well, they're all relevant. It would be the election packets will be out by 1 p.m. on Thursday. So that will be through email, and there will be paper copies sitting at the table outside the office. Next week, Tuesday at 5 p.m. is the optional information session with me. And then next Friday, October 10th is when all the election forms, signature sheets, and past referenda are due to me by 5 p.m. And since I know there are a lot of people who are very busy with stuff and you may not be able to make the information session with me, next week, Monday, I'm going to stay probably a while after the meeting in the office, so please feel free to come down and ask questions. Or you can also always add a meeting on my Outlook calendar. If you do that though, I beg you to wait till next week to add a meeting. Or you can email me a question or ask me stuff if I'm in the office. And then I wrote on here a note, please when contacting myself or a member of WSG with a WSG email, so the e-board and then Senate leadership, please try your best to do this through our WSG email with relevant topics. So if you're just asking someone, how's your day, then you don't email us that, but if it's something about legislation, standing rule, whatever, please email it, because this ensures that we're following with Wisconsin open meeting laws and Wisconsin public records law. And I'm not sure if anyone's touched on that last week or not, but so anyone can submit a request if they think we're breaking one of these laws to kind of go through our information, like so that they go through our email and whatever else we use that we communicate for WSG with. And if we are doing that with our cell phone number or Snapchat, whatever else, then these people will they will also get access to our text messages. And I mean, I don't want anyone going through my text messages, so Additionally, external committee reports, please use the Connect to QR code posted in the office. I'm unsure if it's accessible through the app, like without the QR code right now. Do you know?
There's a link report you can type in, but
Okay. But like, can you like look up Whitewater student code and
Take a little look.
like on Connect? If
I would just try to, probably
Probably not. Okay, so I'm gonna try to see if there's another easy way to have people access that, whether or not it being just a button on the Connect to app if you're not in the office to fill out the form, or if there's some way we can add it to our Wix website. And we're doing this because it's easier for you to get your report to me, and because I need the report for the minutes, as well as I keep a log, per se, of the agendas, minutes, and your report of all the internal and external committees. And so that's also to help with open meeting laws. And I thank Deputy Speaker Patricius for making it, managing it, because I don't know enough about Connect. So if you have any questions, if it's not working, please ask him, besides when he's not here. Returners have heard a lot about backlog. If you're interested in going through backlog with me, it's time consuming, but it's kind of interesting. You can read stuff that's going on in like 1988 or any other year. Please let me know. We can find a time to sit and work on it. It is my goal to get it done by the end of my term. Then the WSG website is something that I've mentioned multiple times. It's a Wix website. So I would love for you all to check it out if you have not yet. It links to our Google Drive as well. On the Wix website, there's a little section that says student resources and then governing documents. On there, that'll bring you to the Google Drive, which has our standing rules, constitution, and the Rock Student Government Association, their meeting info, our agendas, minutes, bills that are presented, whether or not they pass or not, all that will be in there. So I encourage you all to check it out. Yeah, I am also a little behind on that as I did not upload the stuff for today or last week, so give me a little grace on that one yet. And I did include in here the link for the website if you do not know where to find it. Otherwise, I search a lot of times, do www.wsg.wix or something along those lines, and it comes up, or just contact any of us. And with that, sorry for the long report. Feel free to reach out to me. I want to help you with any questions, concerns, whatever you have. So have a great week.
Wonderful. Any questions for our clerk? Once or twice, seeing none, with that, we're on to the Board of Senate parliamentarian, Blake Earl.
Tried to be brief. Last week, I worked on implementing the new outreach events, and after the tuition legislation was tabled after a tie-breaking vote by Senate officers, I spent last week speaking with various senators and also looking over an email I received from the advisor about possible change that could be made to the legislation, trying to figure out next steps for it. Then began working on the How to Get Things Done seminar that I mentioned in my last report. I sent out an email earlier today to the other planners. And then, of course, I collected my 25 signatures so I could continue to be here with all of you. This week, I'm hoping to have some more talks on tuition legislation. I should be clear, when I say that, I mean legislation to deal with the tuition increase, not necessarily the exact bill that was presented last week, meeting with new senators on outreach events. So if you were just appointed, not appointed, sworn in today and are not a returning senator, I'll be trying to set up a email with you, or a meeting with you to try to get you acclimated to the new outreach events, talk about what exactly is expected from you and how you might accomplish them. So please see me after the meeting so we can talk about that. And of course, any non-newly appointed senators, I am always available with meetings about outreach events and anything else. And then I'll also be speaking with Speaker Wilson on preparation for the next 2 weeks, but I imagine Speaker Wilson will speak more about that in his report. And then finally, since we have some newly appointed senators, newly sworn in senators, a reminder that if you have any questions on the WSG Constitution, standing rules, open meeting laws, Robert's Rules of Order, please feel free to reach out to me and set up a meeting. This is if you have specific questions or just generally want to walk through them and get some more information. My Outlook calendar is up to date, so you can go off of that if you'd like, or just reach out and we will find a time for that. And with that, I yield to questions.
Any questions for our parliamentarian? Once? From the gallery?
Will we have a meeting to see how to actually use an Outlook calendar? Because I tried to do it and it did not work on my end.
I'd like to help you out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I can help you out after the meeting.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any other questions?
I found it difficult too. I detest technology.
Any other questions going once? Going twice, speaking now, we're on the report of our deputy speaker, Mr. Nick Tree.
Happy Monday! Last week I met with UW System Office of Government Relations, 3 people there. The next day I testified in front of the Wisconsin State Assembly Committee on Criminal Justice and Public Safety on Assembly Bill 236 with Director Smith. So that was a fun day going to the Capitol. Thursday I had a sexual and interpersonal violence committee, the core team. I'm hoping to have Gabby Jolly, who is the Chief of Staff and Senior Strategic and Compliance Officer, as well as Thomas Lazowski, who is the current interim Title IX Coordinator, come and present on what we covered, which is 2024 reports on sexual misconduct. There's a lot of context that they want to provide before they just hand that out, so I'm hoping to get that context, and hopefully have them come present it to you. But I have a meeting scheduled with Director Smith and the 2 of them to get that. I have multiple department presentations on Friday with President Bradley, Vice President Bain, Speaker Wilson, and then my 2 Vice Chairs, Supak, Abby Reiser, and Warren Smith. This week I have a Student Affairs Operations Director Search and Screen meeting. I also learned I'm on the Title IX Coordinator and Deputy Chief of Staff Search and Screen, so those will be fun. Just a reminder to you all, if you miss anything WSG related, it is automatically an unexcused absence. And if you get 4 of those, you are automatically removed. So if you want to avoid that, send me an email to the WSG deputy right at the top, if you want to scroll up a little bit. Right there, that email, if you email that email and only that email, not the personal, not like text me or Snapchat me, I can mark you down. If you get a hold of me any other way, it's going to be hard to track down later. Don't letters to me either, just that email. And that's relevant because next week I will be out of the country. I'll be in Thailand. So if you're going to miss anything, send me an email. I will catch up when I'm back. But if it's on WebEx or it's on Snapchat or it's on text messaging or my personal email, it's going to be hard to track all that down. So I will only take things to those email. And if you have any immediate concerns, I hope you don't, but if you do, Sadie has the roster and attendance tracker and all of that fun stuff if you need anything. Otherwise, I'm gone and I'll be back in a week. Yeah, with that I yield.
Any questions for our deputy speaker? Parliamentarian?
I just want to be clear for the some of the new senators. When you say anything related to WSG results in absence, you're referring to the mandatory events. So something like tabling, something that we're requested to do. We should do if we have the time, but would it result in an unexcused absence only? Meetings, office hours, outreach events, and other things declared as mandatory by the speaker.
If you go to the standing rules, I believe it's section 5.1. I'm not entirely sure. It's going to be Senate personnel, and in there is going to be a line about, or a subsection about senator responsibilities. If you look at that, that's what you're required to do. If you have any questions, ask.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice? Seeing none, with that, we're on my report. I will yield to most of it, which is in the packet. A lot of it's like normal null stuff, cabinet, that kind of thing. But the thing you should look out for mostly is that I'm getting my one-on-ones with every senator. So I sit down, I talk with y'all. I generally take a couple notes about who you are, what you want to do with this organization, how we can best assist you as Senate leadership or otherwise, and also give you a little rundown about some of those things that are in the standing rules that make sure that you can still keep joining us every week. So look out. I will put a meeting on your Outlook calendar. I'll probably email you as well. If you don't know how to use an Outlook calendar, I'd love to show you how. Otherwise, sometimes I'll just catch you in the office. Normally the meetings are 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We'll go as long as y'all need, but there's some relevant data that I like to get across, and then just kind of get to know y'all as people. Last week I also worked on making committee assignments, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. This week I'll be meeting with Associate Director Kelleher on some things, and I'll be meeting with the parliamentarian pretty extensively because I will be out of the country for 10 days. Coincidentally, Deputy Speaker Patrigas and I will be out of the country for the same 10 days. We'll be in Thailand, competing with the WSG and Actus chapter at the World Cup. So from Friday, I will send out my last agenda. I know most of y'all are ready to get it on Sundays, but this week, Friday, I will send out the agenda. So if you have any relevant agenda items, internal committee reports, external committee reports, that kind of thing, please get them to me before noon on Friday. Because by 8 o'clock on Friday, I'll be on a 12-hour flight, and I probably won't get back to my phone until the middle of Sunday, if that. So I will be monitoring my email, doing some homework, but I can obviously not guarantee any sort of speedy reply. I'll probably set up some sort of auto reply on the speaker email, so that if anybody emails me, you'll get a little response right away that says I'm in Thailand. For any immediate business, as Nick and I will be out, you can go to the clerk if you have relevant questions about attendance, that kind of thing. Say you have access to those sheets. If you have general parliamentary questions, things about legislation, you can go to our wonderful parliamentarian, Blake Irwin. And thus, that's why we'll be meeting, because it's pretty likely that Blake will run one, if not two meetings in a row. So I'm chatting to ensure that he is most armed and ready to execute any duties necessary. So for the rest of it, I yield to my report. Take a look at your packets. If you have any of those packets, let me know. Anything that you need from me, I'm yielding the questions now. From the gallery.
Where are you going in Thailand?
We're going to Bangkok, Thailand.
And what is the club for?
It's an Actus, so we're a social entrepreneurship organization. Basically, we start companies and solve problems. Wow. Any other questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we are on unfinished business, which we have none. So we're on new business, starting with the approval of the unofficial 2025 Senate election calendar. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So as I touched on a little bit ago, in Senate election, so I want you all to look at the calendar on here, or if you have it up, printed off, please look at it. And I'm just going to walk through it with y'all. So it's similar to the other years. There's some small changes. There's big differences from spring. If you're wondering why it looks different, it's because that was executive election and they have some different rules we have to follow by. So for the general layout,
According to the standing rules, which says a calendar of deadlines is to be submitted 6 weeks prior to the election for approval of the Senate. That means it has to be submitted either today or last week, and we picked today because last week was the first meeting. And then in our Constitution, it says elections will be held at least 1 month prior to the last WSG meeting of the semester. And so then if we look on the calendar here, the Senate election days are going to be the last week of October, 28th and 29th, which our last Senate meeting for the semester will be December 1st, I believe. And so that makes it 4 weeks before that. Well, more than 4 weeks before. So sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to figure out what I wrote down. Okay, never mind. I processed that one in my brain. Okay, so going through, I'll just read this off and point out a couple things. So today's Senate approval election calendar. Thursday, election packets available by 1 p.m. outside the WSG office and electronically, so it'll be emailed out. Tuesday, September 23rd, optional information session with the clerk at 5 p.m. in the WSG Senate office, which it's optional, you don't have to attend, but if you can't make it, please reach out to me. I want to make all accommodations I can to get you the info. Then Friday, October 10th, all election forms, signature sheets, and past referenda are due by 5 p.m. This you can get to me in the WSG office or electronically. I did write down suggested as one thing I noticed when making this calendar is that the deadline of forms is technically, according to our standing rules, supposed to be decided on by the elections committee. And as when I created this calendar, the committees didn't really begin yet, as the committees went out today. My committee will be the e-board, just to let y'all know, because it wasn't on the list. So from my understanding, years past, clerks just go and look at past clerks' calendars and base it off best they can. So that's what I did for this. But if the elections committee does decide they don't like that date for some reason, we will let you all know ASAP and make the correct changes needed. Then October 28th, October 29th, Tuesday and Wednesday, Senate election day 1 and 2. It will be online through Connect 2. Wednesday, October 29th is the preliminary notification of violations hearing at 5 p.m. And that's something that I noticed when going through the standing rules, that in the past we haven't always had a hearing, but according to standing rules, this hearing/meeting is required rather than just a notification through email by me. So we will be having that, so we are following the standing rules and Constitution. What day am I on? Oh, there we go. Thursday, October 30th. All violations will be due to me by 9 a.m. in the violation box, or email it to me electronically. I will be at the box making sure I get it at 9. I won't take any late violations. Then the 30th as well at 10 a.m. is when the final notification of violations will go out. That will be an email from me. Then that day as well, the violations hearing and ballot counting will be after 2 p.m. But it has to be before October 31st at 4:30 on that Friday. So that is something that the elections committee and myself will come and decide when we are going to meet in that time frame, what works best for all of us, because we do have a quorum. We have to meet of 6 voting members. So that's why I can't just put down a meeting randomly on here. Then the unofficial election results will be posted in the office on paper and electronically. That is something that isn't quite specified in our standing rules, but I wanted to send it out through email because I don't think everyone wants to come to the Senate office that day. I mean, you can, feel free. And then Monday, November 3rd is the Senate meeting after that, and that will be the Senate consideration of approval of unofficial election results. Then after here in the little bolded area is basically the same stuff, same timeline, just afterwards. So that is for a contingency election. We have this outlined just in case we do need to use it. I don't know of recent years it being going one, but just in case we do have it there. The standing rules say in section 11.12.c, if the Senate votes to overturn a decision of the elections committee, it goes into a contingency election. And then the Constitution says, Article 1, section 2f, if the results of a general election are declared null by the Senate due to the occurrence of substantial violation of the election rules, a new follow-up election will be held within 15 academic days after the date of the overturned election. So we, when I say we, I put this out, and then Doug, President Bradley, and Advisor Billigan and I, and a couple of senators who were in and out, confirmed all the dates. So that is within 15 days, less than 15 days of the original election. Business days. We're not counting weekends here. If anyone has any questions on it, I can go into more details. I can reference how each applies to this, like each part applies to the standing rules, the Constitution, and where. But this is just the overall generic overview of it. And with that, I yield.
Any questions for the clerk? Once?
Ooh, sorry, I have one more thing to add. At the bottom here, if you can see that, I have an asterisk which says locations will be updated as soon as reservations are confirmed due to me being sick. I didn't really get around to confirming all these dates until yesterday, and the reservation office was not open on a Sunday. So this week I will be making phone calls and reserving rooms, and then once I do have that all figured out, I will update this just so we can look at it, see, hey, where are they meeting? And yeah, okay, that's all.
Whatever, are there any questions? Once? Miguel?
What would these elections be for?
So the Senate term ends, I do believe
We run from January to
January.
February 2nd, I think, is the official one.
Yeah. February 2nd is when the current senators who are sitting here or may get any signatures in the future and receive a spot is when your term ends if you do not move out of your district before then or resign or leave the school. So technically we have every fall we have a Senate election, which is when the student body will receive a ballot and they can vote on who they want to be their senators representing them in their district and at large. And so people who do end up getting elected in this fall election, they will be able to receive their seat in the spring, and technically then their full term would be the entire year length. So I'm trying to think of how to phrase something. So for instance, people who ran for a seat last week and just accepted it, you are technically finishing someone else's term, per se. And so that's why you got your seat through appointment. But if you were to run in the election and get a seat that way, then you would be starting your own term, which doesn't make much of a difference for, but it's just the more formal way. Did I answer the question? I kind of forgot what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
So do we run in November?
If you are a current or wanting to be a senator and you would like to keep your seat in February or spring semester, then I do encourage you to run in the election. Otherwise, you're probably not going to have one. And that is why, like, you're not going to have a seat, not an election. We're going to have an election, I fear. And so, that's why, like, I have the information session. I want you all to reach out to me, especially because we do have so many new faces, and I want to help you understand the election because it's still sometimes confusing to me, and I'm supposed to be the expert on it with Advisor Billigan. So.
Is it true that every Senate seat is up for re-election every November?
Yes.
And that term begins in February at the first WSG meeting of the spring semester?
Yes.
Thank you.
At that first meeting also is when the speaker, deputy speaker, and parliamentarian spots are open, and any senator is eligible, current senator at that time is eligible to run for one of those spots.
Senator Lang?
Is the appointment of the Senate leadership voted on by current senators?
Yes. So whoever is a senator at the time will be voting on that.
Any questions? Yes, Alex?
What was the election packet or something similar that you referenced earlier on?
So the election packet will have this calendar in it. It will have some generic just election rules and other important dates that aren't in this calendar. And then it will include, just like it, to people who have seen a signature packet, it's about the same, but if you haven't seen a signature packet, it will have there will be columns that you need to get signatures from your constituents from in the district that you decide to run for. It will include the date, their name, their signature, email or phone number, and then their address or their dorm room and room number. And you will need to receive 50 signatures to be a part of the election.
On the ballot.
On the ballot. You can be part of the election as a write-in candidate, but if you do get your spot through being write-in, you do still have to get 50 signatures.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice? If you have any more questions afterwards, you can always come chat with someone who knows the answers. With that, we will move on to a roll call vote on approving the calendar. So, a vote of aye will be voted in favor of approving the calendar, a vote of nay will be a vote against.
Is there a motion?
The agenda is very fast.
Why? You're asking for an approval. I would ask for a motion personally, whether it's correct or not.
Sounds good. With that, we'll move into a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you please call the roll?
Senator Carter.
Aye.
Senator Brzezowski.
Aye.
Senator Irwin.
Aye.
Senator Lang.
Aye.
Senator Majors.
Aye.
Senator Monroe.
Aye.
Senator Patricus.
Aye.
Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Reber.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Schmidt.
Aye.
Senator Schrocknagel. Senator Thompson.
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde.
Aye.
Senator Wheaton.
Aye.
Speaker Wilson.
Aye. And with that, the 2025 Senate election calendar has been approved unanimously. Alrighty, wonderful. I am passing the gavel over to Deputy Speaker Patricus because I'm joining you all up front. Oh, it's so good to see you all. Yeah, on our last agenda item. I think I'm gonna actually be one of the last folks up. I think I'm gonna dismount. It's so good to see you all. We are now on to the approval of committees. So, according to the standing rules, every senator is required to be on 2 internal committees and 1 external committee. What that means is our internal committees are the committees internal to us. So when you hear internal student affairs, think student affairs, WSG. When you think external student affairs, think student affairs, campus-wide. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, wonderful. So this is the this is the committee approval appointment. So there are a few things I'd like to note here. Everyone that's highlighted is somebody who just took the oath of office today. Their approval was contingent on them being in the room, taking the oath, and becoming senators. But you can basically just pretend that they're not even there anymore because everybody on this list received approval. Another thing I'd like to mention is that these committees are semi-malleable, I would say, throughout the semester. So if capacity issues arise in one of those situations, or if people want to leave, or if there are extenuating circumstances, come chat with me and we can ensure that things get moved around in the best way possible. These constitutional revision committee appointments are from President Bradley. So those are his constitutional revision appointments, and these are our internal committees. All of these that say TBD means that the committee itself will vote on who they want to be the chair and or vice chair when applicable. So the chair for constitutional revisions is voted upon, and the vice chair for all of these wonderful committees here. If you don't see your name twice for some reason, let me know, because that would mean that the spreadsheet isn't doing the correct math. If you see your name in a place that you really, really don't want it to be, of course you have the ability to change that on the floor tonight. Otherwise, if you don't feel comfortable, I totally understand that. Come chat with me after the meeting. That is our internal committee assignments. I'm going to leave it on there for 7 more seconds, which is, I believe, what I've been told in educational circles. Wonderful. With that, we're going to go on to the external committees. So these external committees, like I said, when you think external committees, don't think WSG, think campus-wide. So you'll be on these committees with different campus partners. The chancellor's committees are committees that the chancellor's on. They advise the chancellor directly. And a lot of them kind of make sense based on the name. Some of them make less sense based on the name. If you have questions about them, feel free to ask. Again, if you see your name in a place that you really don't want it to be, let me know. I use the committee interest form that I sent out last week to gauge interest for all of these committees. The way I make my decision is I utilize that form. I prioritize seniority and what I would call dependability. So on the most exclusive, important Chancellor's Committee or some of our most high-stakes committees, go to the folks who I think we can depend on to come back, give an amazing external committee report, and tell not only WSG what's going on here, that's really important, but probably the more important piece is when you go and interact with our external campus partners, that you're representing the students and the constituents with which you were appointed or elected to serve. So these are the external appointments. A few of these things, this sheet changes much more than the internal sheet in a given semester or in a given term because, for example, I serve on the textbook rental committee. I have for almost 3 years now. And I'm saying textbook rental because my mind is still in such a textbook rental place, but it's now the course materials committee. The layout of the committee has changed. Some of the committee assignments have changed. In some places we have multiple representatives. In some places we have one representative. All the time the chairs switch because a lot of those times the chairs are different external partners to the organization and people retire or they move into different places in the university system. So that's why this is probably more likely to change. And of course, the thing that probably causes these lists to change the most is that there are some of you who don't have names on here for very obvious reasons because you just joined us. And hopefully next week we'll have new people who join us again, and new people who join us again, and new people who join us again. So the committees will continue to change. Everyone should have a 1 by their name, at least. Some people have more. If you don't have a 1, if you don't see your name and for some reason you see a 1, again, it's an error. You can come chat with me after the meeting, or you can call me out on the Senate floor too, I don't mind. So with that, we will move on. I will yield, Mr. Deputy Speaker, to questions. I'm not used to that.
President Bradley? Yes, Mr. Speaker, can you go to the internal committees?
I can, yeah.
For the Elections Engagement Committee, there's currently no Director of Intergovernmental Affairs.
Indeed.
So I believe the chair should be to be determined.
It will be. Chair will be.
In 8.2A.
Indeed. Thank you, President Bradley.
Can I ask for unanimous consent to make that change? Any opposed? Seeing none.
Wonderful. Any other questions? I guess that's not my job right now.
Any other questions?
I always want to have one.
Just for like a little clarification, internal committees, you're gonna see people in this room, right? External committees, you're likely the only person in this room, might be you and another person, but then it'll be a bunch of adults.
We're all adults.
Non-WSG members.
That's
8 employees of the university, typically.
That's
Yeah. Any other questions? Seeing.
That does remind me. I'm so sorry. Question for myself. Is it true that if you have an asterisk next to your name, that denotes that you are a WSG representative? Yes, it does, Mr. Chair. What that means is that there are some folks who decide, that's me, that there are some folks who should continue to represent this body without being directly appointed or elected. And what that means is if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I really want to represent, or maybe they lose an election, or maybe they don't get appointed, and they still want to be a part of our organization, we can place them on here. And I talked with Sean a little bit before the meeting started. I talked with him a little bit after last meeting, and I was just very impressed by him, and I thought he would be a wonderful addition to that committee. I didn't know if he would return, but I did know that I wanted you to be a WSG representative nonetheless. So essentially, his name is highlighted as well because we didn't know if he would take the oath or not, so it's been retroactively highlighted. But so if you see asterisks on a sheet like this from now on, know that that means that that's a WSG representative. That means on Mondays, they're not a part of our body in sort of the way that some other folks are.
Any other questions? President Bradley?
Will students who were appointed to the Senate today be placed on committees and when?
They will. I would normally say within the week, probably a little different because I'll be out of the country. So as soon as I'm able, let's say tentatively no later than October 3rd, because that's our mandatory training, and I'd like everybody to be in a place before that. Then again, I return on September 28th, which feels like a long time from now when I say it like that, but I'll return on September 28th, so I'll put some hard work in over that week to ensure that everyone gets where they're supposed to be, and I hope I see new faces when I come back, too. I'm surprised.
Any other questions? Last call here. Otherwise, I guess, so are there any amendments anyone would like to make? This is also the time. Seeing none, okay. You want a motion or do you want to just?
Going by the precedence we just established.
With that, we'll move into a roll call vote on the approval of fall 2025 committees. Vote of aye is to say yes to the committees, the vote of nay is vote against. With that, Madam Clerk, do you please call roll?
Senator Carter.
Aye.
Senator Brodnowski.
Aye.
Senator Irwin.
Aye.
Senator Lang.
Aye.
Senator Majors. Aye. Senator Monroe. Aye. Senator Patricus.
Aye.
Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Reaver.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Schmidt.
Aye.
Senator Schrocknagel. Senator Thompson. Aye. Senator Vanderhyde. Aye. Senator Wheaton. Aye. Speaker Wilson.
Aye. And with that, the 2025 fall committees have been approved. Pass the gavel back to Speaker Wilson.
Wonderful. Alrighty, with that, we are on to announcements. Are there any announcements? President Bradley.
Mr. Speaker, I have 2 announcements. If you allow me to share them both now.
Please.
The first is just because of how our organization works and there's some history of things. I've asked room reservations in this building to only accept room reservations from myself to ensure that we aren't overbooking rooms. And so for that reason, if you see some meetings come from me, that's because I'm the director. So for a committee meeting, for example, there was a comms meeting that went out today. I had to book the room before the meeting could be sent out. So I sent it out on their behalf as that was an extra step that I implemented. So if you have any questions about that, keep an eye out for that as well. And then I'd like to echo what the clerk mentioned about messaging us only to our WSG emails. As elected officials, you all are subject to the Wisconsin Public Records law, So should somebody want to submit an open records request, they could go, our IT and campus compliance has access to your emails and they can comb through there. Also, and which is why the clerk has said only use emails. They can also go through your text messages, Snapchat, things like that. They are allowed to subpoena those, and it can happen quite easily because you are an elected official. So should you be elected, appointed, or hired by the Whitewater student government, you are an elected official, protected by state statutes, and so all of that is public should somebody request it. So please, 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 I beg of you, keep all WSG communications to the WSG emails and your school emails. That way nobody has to have their phone records subpoenaed. Woo.
Wonderful with that. Vice President Pitt.
Everyone, please leave your placards here tonight. If you need a new one, I have the placard sheet here again. So whether you lost it or whatever happened, your dog ate it, please sign right here. Then again, office access right here, so everybody please come see me after. First, last name, hall card number as well. And thank you to everyone who tabled in the enrollment fair. So, yes. And last but not least, if you signed up for a binder last week, please come see me after. We'll jump down to the office and get one assigned to you. And with that,
Director Gross. Director Gross. Oh, I didn't see your question. Director Rice.
If you're on the Academic Affairs Committee, please come see me and Olivia after this meeting. Thank you.
Director Gross.
This Thursday at 7 p.m. is KSIV's first event, which is plate smashing, and I would love it if you all could come and join us. Oh, by the way, for those who don't know, KSIV is the Coalition Against Interpersonal and Sexual Violence.
KSIV is the Coalition Against Sexual and Interpersonal Violence.
So close.
I have a number of a few, I'm so sorry. First, if you are just assigned to the Student Affairs Committee, you have until 8 a.m. on Wednesday to update your Outlook calendar. If your Outlook calendar is not up to date, I cannot guarantee that you can attend this meeting. We are all very busy people. I have a lot of schedules to balance in scheduling this meeting, so I need your calendars up to date. If you don't know how to do that, shoot me an email. There is a one-stop presentation this week about success coaching at the Crispin Success Center on Wednesday from 4 to 5. There is the Pride Center's crosswalk painting on May 16th at 4:30 p.m. over by the Williams Center. There is City Pride on October 4th this year. And you all should have just received an email from me about campus safety. So please check out your email for those resources. Thank you.
Senator Carter.
Dr. Collins of the LIFE program, so for those who don't know, the LIFE program is a program where neurodivergent students get to feel how college life is. There's a whole bill up about it from last year. Director Collins reached out to me and said that they are starting something new this year called LIFE Program Meet and Eat. Basically, you get to meet with the people from the LIFE program, discuss what's going on in that. More details will be announced later, and Dr. Collins will be sending me the flyers. So I will put that in the office above the microwave for everything else important. So if you want to sign up for that, please scan that QR code. But like I said, that will be later when he sends me all.
What was the name of that event?
Meet and Eat.
Meet and Eat. So, Parliamentarian Earl.
Two things. Firstly, please do reach out with any questions, or if you want to go through the Constitution, standard rules, Robert's Rules, or open emails, etc., etc. You can find a list of things I'm supposed to advise on in the standing rules. Secondly, all newly sworn in senators, please come see me so we can talk about setting up a meeting this week. If you're on academic affairs, please go see the directors before you see me.
Deputy Speaker Patrick.
If you're on one of my committees, which I think at this point is only the Internal Evaluations Committee, it might be the first committee meeting of the semester. It's meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Highland 1306. Can you say that again? I can. Tomorrow, Highland 1306, 7 o'clock, to elect the vice chair and secretary.
Any other announcements? Going once, going twice. President Bradley.
Sorry, I had it. Vice President Bain whispered something to me, I lost it, and I just got it back. At Sunday, yesterday, 4 p.m., we reached 350 survey results on the WSG priorities. It is still an open document because I want it to be a living thing that we can review, but I pulled the data when it hit 350. I think we are really, really close to declaring our priorities as an e-board and as an organization. So you can expect those next week. I will present them to you as a little sneak peek because we are going to be declaring the theme of the year, and it'll be driving persistence through affordability and engagement. Stay tuned.
Any other announcements? Going once, going twice. See none. With that, we're on to adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Senator Crum.
I move to adjourn.
Seconded by Senator Rangers. Can I get a voice vote?
Affirmation.
Wonderful. With that, we're out of here at 9:22. Oh.
I want to tell you this. I submitted my application.
It's up like.
Okay, he's on his.
Behind. Please be sure.
Newly appointed senators, come on, chat with me. Just good to see you. Just stop.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. So for things to I motion to buy, and then so I like to just sign it and just look at it. And then at the end, voice vote.
No,
Who's up coordinating? People are running. I need a binder. I changed the band 4 times and then this one. So it just I essentially only it's like
that's why I kept you out.
Yes. Back to what box?
Yeah, nobody told me I got two buttons.
That being said, thanks for the word on.